Thank you for joining us for the Easy Odds FA Cup Final video cast. When I was a kid, they had It's a Knockout and a question of sport before the FA Cup, but we won't be doing that here. We're going to go straight into the betting action. Of course, it's Arsenal versus Aston Villa this season. If you have a look at the league form, Arsenal 8-0 aggregate over the Villa this year. Do you know the last time that Aston Villa did the double over Arsenal in the league?
No.
1992-93, which in a way puts it into perspective. But we're talking about a cup game. And Simon, you look back at the semi-finals, Arsenal to a certain degree struggled, whereas Aston Villa dominated their game at Wembley against Liverpool.
But you could also argue, Paul, that Liverpool were really poor that day, and Arsenal are an absolute step above Liverpool, you'd have to say at the moment, Paul. And I think the match odds for the FA Cup final are about right. Arsenal are 4-7 favourites in the 90-minute market. Villa are 6-1 if you fancy the upset with a draw 17-5. Just to lift the cup, Arsenal are 2-9 with Villa at 3-1. You can't forget Arsenal finished 37 points and 14 places above Villa in the table.
It's big.
They're a much better team. Obviously, favourites got a very good record in the FA Cup final, Paul. The only real shock recently was Wigan to win over Man City in 2013. Yeah. Apart from that, at the new Wembley, it's been pretty much all standard results. So it's not really a fixture of the history of upsets either. Okay. So I think to be honest, I wouldn't really bother going opposing Arsenal. I like doing big price selections sometimes, Paul, but not on this occasion. But I do have a couple of nice bets actually.
Okay, what have you got?
Basically, FA Cup finals at the new Wembley are extremely low scoring, and I have a theory for that. It's basically because the pitch is so large, it saps the life out of the game. And my main selection because of that is under 1.5 goals.
Wow!
Which is the best price 16-5. Now, basically, if this bet to win, the match has to end in 90 minutes, 0-0 or 1-0 to either side. Now, this has happened in 5 of the 8 FA Cup finals since moving to the new Wembley. 5 of the last 8 have finished 0-0 or 1-0. It's just a traditionally low-scoring fixture.
So it should be an odds-on price, this bet, shouldn't it?
In theory, it should be. Yeah. I think over 3-1, the 16-5 you're getting is a monster price. Also, Arsenal, their defence is criticised a lot, but actually every season they have a very consistent defensive statistics. They're the second best defence in the league this season. Right. They only shipped 36 in their 38 league games, just 9 in their last 14 matches. And Villa have a reputation for being high scoring under Sherwood, but actually they're either extremely high scoring or extremely low scoring. 4 of the last 10 games have ended 1-0 to either side. So it's not like there's always goals at either end when Villa are playing.
Of course.
So I go under 1.5 goals at 16-5. I'd also have a small saver on Arsenal to win 1-0 in the correct score market.
Like it.
The old school Arsenal 1-0 at a best price 6-1. Basically, favourites tend to get the better of the underdog eventually. 3 of the last 7 FA Cup finals have been won 1-0 by the favourite in normal time. I think just considering it's such a low-scoring game normally, and the favourites normally win, it makes sense to make a small play on the Arsenal 1-0 at 6-1. But under 1.5 goals at 16-5 would be the main selection.
I'm going to throw you a curveball before we leave this video cast very quickly. A lot of people are looking at the other markets as well that we've got on Easy Odds. There are loads of them as well. If you were to have an any-time goal scorer off the top of your, who would you fancy? So you're basically saying that you don't think Villa will score?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So almost like an any-time goal scorer bet would not interest you at all.
Well, if I was going to have a bet, I would look at Olivier Giroud, Paul. I'm not entirely sure what his price is, but Danny Welbeck's out because of his injury, so he will start despite his poor form. Also, the thing with Giroud is, because he doesn't take penalties and things like that, he tends to be a bigger price than guys like Alexis Sanchez. Sanchez is normally favourite in the anytime score market when Arsenal play. Giroud's a slightly bigger price. I think he could cause some problems. So I'd look at Giroud anytime if I had to, but I'd rather go on the lower scoring ones.
Under 1.5 goals for Simon Hopper. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Do you agree? Go and have a look on easyodds.com right now.